Tilta's new lightweight shoulder rig comes in at $339 for the base kit, and true to form, Tilta has included a bunch of bells and whistles in the package that might be considered a la carte additional accessories from other camera accessory brands. Shoulder rigs, like tripods, are purchases that stick with you for years and years. So, does the lightweight shoulder rig have what it takes to keep your shoulder happy and your camera safe? Hi, I'm Grant Sheldon, and here's my review. I love camera operating, and I try to do it wherever possible, even on larger sets where I wear different hats. There is something about the connection you get with your subject while operating that is unique, and that doesn't quite carry over to a monitor at Video Village. Towards that end, I am laser focused on operating gear that works with me and doesn't add pain or discomfort over long hours. Lately, I've been a fan of the Ergo Rig from Cinema Devices for support. Still, monitor placement is equally important to avoid neck injury, and a quality shoulder rig is right at the top of the priority list. Your shoulder rig choice shouldn't be an afterthought, and there are a bunch of affordable options out there. But keep in mind, quality may vary. Some shoulder rigs are specifically designed for a single camera system, but there are a few that could be considered universal. Here are just a few of the lower to mid cost competitors. Small Rig Shoulder Rig Pro Kit, $335. CamFate Pro Shoulder Mount Rig, $286. Shape Airy Dovetail Shoulder Mount with Handles, $666. Zacuto ACT Base Plate, $295. Handles sold separately. iCan Stratus Shoulder Rig System for cinema cameras, $299. Condor Blue Shoulder Pad Air Rig, $699. And 8-Sin Shoulder Rig Kit with 15mm LWS base plate, $699. My history with Tilta as a brand began in the red DSMC1 era with a Red Epic Dragon rig. The price was competitive at the time, but it wasn't my favorite rig overall. Since then, the brand has progressed significantly while sticking to affordable price points. I'm seeing Tilta products on larger and larger sets these days, and their Nucleus Nano 2 follow focus / zoom rocker is especially impressive. You can find my Nano 2 review at CineD.com as well. Tilta markets the lightweight shoulder rig as geared towards compact camera rigs. I might be pushing the definition of compact a bit with my Canon C300 Mark III and Sigma Cine Zooms, but at about 5 pounds for the body itself, this isn't a particularly heavy camera. I just think Tilta intends this rig more for the likes of the Red Komodo, Sony FX3, Canon C70, or even a Canon R5C. Either way, it works fine with my C300 Mark III, and I feel like other more mid-sized cine cameras like a Sony FX6 would do well too. So, what are my first impressions? It is hard to overstate how much I enjoy self-contained kits, and this shoulder rig comes in a semi-rigid hard case with plenty of interior room that suggests it could take a hit or two without damaging the overall rig. Having everything in a kit means I don't need to dedicate the time to figuring out another solution. It's also easy to throw in my vehicle for a shoot at the last minute while having the confidence it's all good to go when I land at the location. The main components of the lightweight shoulder rig are the following: 15mm rod mounts, dual at the rear and one near the front, base plate, Arca and Manfrotto compatibility, quick adjustable rosette arms, additional cost from the core kit, shoulder rig back shoulder pad. Okay, let's take a quick look at the Tilta lightweight shoulder rig. Here it is. I mean, everyone loves matte black. I love that the corners are all rounded. I'm not going to cut myself. I'm not going to catch on something. So right now I have those airy quick release rosettes on the side. If you look at my hand there, I'm just pushing down on a little toggle. That lets me move pretty quick when I need to adjust my hand position. You can also take those quick release airy style rosettes off, and you can just use a straight up knob system if you want. In general, cushion, very comfortable. And if I turn around for a second, you can see this back pad
that I actually haven't had a shoulder rig that has that. So I don't know if you can see that back there, but it just sort of cradles the shoulder, and I like it when I'm doing shots like this because my biceps aren't taking the full weight of the camera, and that back pad is actually taking a little bit of the weight. So that's very cool for moments when you're tilting down. So there's this sort of horizontal bar here, which theoretically a good idea because you can kind of move it along this center post here, which means you can slide it sort of left or right, depending just on how your hand placement is. In practice though, if you're holding the camera like this and you go, oh, I'm going to loosen this, I mean, you can see right there, it will tilt the whole camera forward. Maybe not a big problem on like a Canon C70 or like a Canon R5, Sony FX3, something like that. But on a rig like this, definitely a little bit of a surprise first time I did that. Obviously, knobs right here, and then plenty of quarter 20s sort of hidden around the entire rig. Easy if you want to remove one of these in the middle of a shoot day. Say you want to put your hand on the barrel of the lens, something like that. Very doable. But, I mean, generally, it is very lightweight. It's only a couple of pounds. And it does work fine for a camera like this. But, considering this is a shoulder rig that is, I would say, near the mid to lower end in terms of just pricing, you're getting a lot of features for that. I don't think everyone's going to love the airy quick release rosettes. That's kind of an acquired taste. I prefer the knobs personally. Some people will like that quick release mechanism. I wish they had another 15mm rod on the side. I mean, there's room for that for something like a lens support. But instead, you can see it over here. You only have a spot for one 15mm rod. So there you have it. That's your quick look around at the Tilta lightweight shoulder rig.
For power, you could install a battery plate like this one from Tilta on the back part of the rig itself, but my battery on the C300 Mark III affixes directly to the camera. Unfortunately, the included camera plate only has quarter 20 screws and not 3/8 options, and it is designed in such a way that you couldn't add 3/8 screws even if you wanted to. Not a big deal for smaller cameras, but I appreciate combining both screw types for larger camera builds. Now to operating with the shoulder rig. Given the fact that lightweight is literally in the product name, you'll be happy to hear that the overall rig is one of the lightest I've ever used. With the low weight, I was worried that corners might be cut in the overall material strength, but I didn't see any sketchy bending or flexing despite having a camera rig at the top end of the overall system weight limits. There are also multiple mounting points on the back pad where you could add a counterweight, like this one, designed specifically for this shoulder rig by Tilta. Strangely, there isn't a way to make this rig work with a VCT system, and that's a bit of a bummer if you need to transition from tripod to shoulder and back again. If you plan to live on your shoulder for the entire shoot day, then this lack of VCT compatibility won't be an issue for you. Tilta as a company seems invested in the Dovetail platform over VCT in most of their products. And speaking of living on your shoulder, I love the cushion on both the back pad and the shoulder pad. It is incredibly comfortable and feels like you have a piece of memory foam between you and the camera. A+. Quick moves and heavy use over a long shoot day didn't loosen any of the knobs to the point where I felt like they were fighting my camera moves. Everyone is different, and having a shoulder rig that can keep up with different op styles is important. I found the padded handle grips to be comfy, but you could upgrade one of these, depending on if you are left or right-handed, to a $157 Tilta wooden handle with control trigger. Just double check your camera has the correct available trigger cable, or the record button won't work. The use of airy standard rosettes on this rig also opens up options from a few other brands if you want to mix and match components. Okay, now for some final thoughts. The $399 Tilta lightweight shoulder rig is priced competitively, takes lighter to mid-sized cameras, and maybe most importantly, is very, very comfortable. The back pad is something I didn't know I needed on a shoulder rig, can't live without it now, and the whole rig breaks down into a small kit for transport. I find the adjustable horizontal bar to be a good idea, but in practice, the lack of a safety catch means it feels like a potential future failure point with extensive use. Only time will tell there. The lack of VCT mounting solution makes the overall rig a bit less flexible than it could be from job to job. The single 15mm rod mount is nice, but two would be better for lens support or additional accessories. There are cheaper shoulder rigs on the market, but you'd be hard-pressed to find one that's this comfortable. There you have it. That's my review of the Tilta lightweight shoulder rig. If you like this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Special thanks to Rev Studio in San Diego for their help with this review. Go to RevStudioSD.com for more info on how to book their beautiful studio space.